All right. Good evening, everybody. This is the September 15th, 2021 episode of Star Wars CCG Holotheatre. I think I'm echoing, but hopefully I just got that to stop. We have guys. Hey, Wayne, can you hear me now? We might just edit some of this out and kick off from the start. Hey, hey.
That's fine.
Why? I'm hearing an echo. All right, so Wayne says he can hear us.
You are coming in loud and clear on this end, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm not getting in.
You know what it is? I think it's me. All right, I just muted the Twitch. I think I was at fault. So apologies again. We're gonna have some rough start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So forgive me. Not as smooth and as accustomed to this as Dan. So let's kick it off again. So September 15th episode, Holotheatre. We have a great episode this week. We're gonna do some introductions, and the focus of this episode will be on broadcasting and programming of the Star Wars CCG PC and some of the great folks we have here and their notable contributions to the community and how that's going to progress forward. So first we have, I'll go top left here, Matt Lutz, CRG, aka Crazy Runner Guy, host of Bad Deck Breakdowns, and a player on the rise who has had a torrid, year and a half, maybe 2 years now, with lots of top eights and great performances. So say hello, Matt, to everybody.
Well,
All right, so hopefully everyone heard Matt okay. I'll go bottom left here on my screen, Kendall, Corin Hallman. He is what I called one time the Dan Patrick of Star Wars CCG. He responded with the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, and not. I said no. There's a famous sports broadcaster who's known for his interviews, and Kendall has some really great, a lot of great long form interviews that we'll plug and discuss on the show, of course. And then on my bottom right on my screen, I'm seeing here, of course, Chris Gogolen, PC Hall of Famer. What hasn't Chris done? So store manager, Hall of Famer, some great playing performances, and just he's done contributions to all sorts of the PC over the past almost 20 years. So say hello to everybody, Chris.
hi, everybody.
All right. So we got our intros. So again, as I said at the beginning, or maybe it came through, maybe it didn't. We're going to focus on programming here. So I'll do a quick introduction. So obviously we have the Bad Deck Breakdowns, which focus on bad decks, and I highly recommend everyone subscribe to these. Subscribe to the podcast.
There's bad decks.
Okay.
It doesn't have to actually be bad.
Yeah. So I think you guys are up to about 24 episodes.
What was it? Go ahead.
You're up to about 24 episodes, right?
Yes, and we're going to record the 25th episode here shortly with our new regular co-host David Woods.
Yeah. It's exciting news.
Yeah, so Noah Bai is going to join us.
Yeah.
So that probably take over some fun bad deck ideas. He seems to have plenty of them lately.
Yeah.
Got a lot of interesting deck builds, so that should be a good addition to the program.
Mm-hmm.
And the great thing about his decks are that they're not like, I think everybody, a lot of creative deck builders, you still go towards the same themes. Like for me, every single deck I build is actually just a Throne Remains deck, but it's like
Or course.
or Corn or a Dark Side Mains deck. But like generally, it's like my goal is to have characters who are decently powered fight the other people, and whether that's starting with a Death Star or some other, inserting 37 characters into court or whatever, like I'll play around with gimmicks and things, but the my goal as a player is usually to win battles and stuff. When I've been with David, he has like all these like trooper decks. So his goals are not just to win battles, but to win one battle by 7,000 force. And because and that doesn't mean that all of his decks have to be trooper decks, but like he was building a Darth Maul start deck with the Darth Maul chambers, and he sent me his list, and I was like, you're starting with a sight on the table and a dude, and this isn't a main deck. I don't understand.
Like he had actual other themes to the deck to it, so I think he'll bring a really good other perspective to the team.
Yeah, for sure. And then also what you have, Kendall, is that interview series that you did with a lot of world champions and even some non-world champions like Timo. And of course, Gogolen was on an episode. I highly recommend that one. I remember it was a couple months ago. I remember going on a walk and I remember laughing out loud. And actually, one thing I definitely stuck out about that was when Gogolen talked about, hey, back in 1995 when people played I Have You Now 6 times in a battle, the cumulative rule had to stop that. So that reminded me about a week or so ago when someone was using the communing Master Kenobi to just keep adding power and adding power and adding power, and it was a jump bug. All right, so those are two awesome programs between the Bad Deck Breakdowns and the interview series. And of course, Gogolen has over 100 shows on his gameplay review training. I shouldn't say training, gameplay review series. He goes around. Obviously, I'll defer to you, Gogolen, maybe just talk about that. And of course, talked about it a little bit on some other programs, but definitely cede the floor to you about your experiences with programming.
Yeah. For a while, I was getting game links people submitted where they would say, hey, I thought I had this game won and somehow I ended up losing. What could I have done differently? And, I'd kind of review the game and be like, okay, well, here's something you did that put you in a bad position or maybe wasn't ideal. Here's some things you can clean up to help you with your performance for next time around. And it's kind of evolved now to where, I'm jumping in live games and just watching stuff that people are doing, getting some game links from people still. I haven't gotten a few in a while, so if you have a game link, feel free to send it over. I do have one queued up for my next show here. A player, a top-ranked player, sent me a game in a scenario, and it's one of those in-game decision scenarios that he really wanted to, focus on, and it's one of those situations where like your opponent battles into you, and you have Boba Fett and ship, and you get to go search your deck and take an interrupt. What interrupt do you take and why? And what different paths can you kind of branch out from it in the game? And little things like that are really what, once you've got the mechanics down, the basics of the game, then the next step is to start making those tough in-game decisions. You can build the best deck in the world, but if you take the wrong card in a spot like that, it can be the difference between winning and losing, and that can happen as early as turn 1 or turn 2 for stuff like that. So I feel like it was a great point, and that's going to be what we're going to focus on in the next show and kind of analyze, some of the different paths you can take. And, even though the card this player took may have worked out in this situation, was it still the right decision? If you did that thing 100 times, did it work out just once for him, or would it work out, the majority of the time and it was the right play?
Yeah, I mean,
I recommend taking the wrong card.
Yeah, I can't endorse Chris's series enough, and that's where I have up on the background here his YouTube channel. So I recommend everyone to subscribe, especially if you're a new returning player. I'm going to pass this to Matt in a minute, but I think he's in the same boat as me, as coming back to the game around 2017, really getting caught up to speed, learning a lot of things, and just a lot of great things that Chris talks about and discusses on there. And a lot of things that stick with me are like, what's the worst thing that could happen in this situation, and therefore, what should I do? And learning about taking calculated risks and what really advances win conditions and all the things that go into this really complicated game. So recommend subscribing to Chris's YouTube channel, which is just go to YouTube and search Chris Gogolen and it'll pop up. And then this is Kendall was talking about. This is kendallcast.ninja. Strongly recommend going here. He's got his interviews as well as bad deck breakdowns. There's 24, the no idea deck. There's deck list on here that are usually very fun decks, and just a great segment and all the different segments that you go through in the show. Why is it a bad deck or why doesn't it work? Like when Worfs was on with pod racing, that was a great one too. But yeah, let me toss it to Matt. Let me talk about more of your experiences with, getting involved in streaming and coming back to the game and just the way that Holotheatre has tied into that too, just being kind of like a glue to these different programs.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what Chris said. Is he's got a post somewhere that I had in my forum signature for a long time about how this is not a game about winning. It's a game of decisions, and the the better you're able to analyze those decisions and make good ones, the better your results will improve, and the more you're able to play decks that require more decisions, like things that have use pile polls or force pile polls, like Senate, QMC, CCT, things like that. Or if you're playing map or profit, where your deck's really reliant on making those decisions. So what are you going to take from this option of 10 cards, or with Hux, for example, with map? What are you going to upload? What trooper? Is it going to be Phasma, or do you need something else? Mm-hmm. And I came back to the game, late 2017. So this will be the fourth Worlds that this happens that came back. When I got back, I kind of consumed everything that was around Star Wars related. So I was watching Holotheatre. I was watching Gogolen shows. Submitted a couple of game links and watched Gogolen, cringe every time I didn't play Resistance and took a drain of 3. I learned from that, which was great. And we talked about with him in the episode Kendall I did with Gogolen, just how much there's a way to provide constructive criticism that I think Gogolen show has, and it's done very well at, which you need for a new player, because if someone goes to a tournament and goes 0-4 or 0-6, it'd be really hard for them to come back. And you want to make sure that their experience is absolutely as good as possible. And so Holotheatre and Gogolen show has been that kind of weekly tie-in to keep people involved, keep people engaged. And it just goes along with everything else the PC is doing to encourage regular gameplay outside of, okay, I got a major coming up. Let's cram everything in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and again, just want to hammer the point home too that your guys' programming has been great, and just the way that it is balanced, I think, with Holotheatre being goes into the news, has on prominent players or relevant, timely relevant players and volunteers, and hey, what are you up to? What's going on? Dan and Jerry and Robbie and everyone else who's been part of the Holotheatre program done a great job of asking the right questions and really creating a resource for new players, returning players, veteran players to be entertained and learn more. And I'll just plug this too. This is on the PC YouTube channel, so youtube.com/c/StarWarsCCG. There's a whole playlist with looks like we have 80 on here. And some of these are pretty cool to watch, even if they're a couple months old. Just seeing changing meta and whatnot. But, I highly recommend checking this out, subscribing, and getting notices. So I will say, too, we're going to do some giveaways. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. So we're going to kind of have some intervals, and we're going to do them also available for people who just watch the replay. So I know some people in Europe or some people on the West Coast are eating dinner right now. So we'll do a couple of them. So I'm going to pause and I think a minute or two just to do one. But, yeah, so I think that's a great basis here. I think one more, I definitely want to do a shout out to like Robbie and Jerry, especially Jerry, because he made that video up. And my next 2 points here kind of tie in. I'll toss you guys around the horn one more time before we go into our next segment. But it's been interesting how people have just become, like myself, I just watched that video that Jerry put out, and okay, this Streamlabs isn't too complicated. There's still some growing pains as we see, but it's really done a lot to, like Taco Bill streams games, and I just saw Steve Skilton's been streaming some games with All of the Jedi, and Eric Hunter, and lots of great coverage in a lot of different ways. So shout out to them for helping and making it so. And it's been weird too, just the COVID impact of all of us have been locked down for so long and not able to do live events, that it's almost the streaming portion of the community is kind of bolstered. So let me toss it to Chris. Just any comments on those, just kind of COVID impact, more people being able to stream and willing to stream and the like.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. I created the Slack channel on the streaming channel as a private channel, and I invited, I think at first it was just like myself and like Dan and like one other people. When we started streaming, like OCS games the first year, just trying to do like the playoffs and things like that. And there was like 3 or 4 of us. And Tom Kelly was in that channel because he was helping us stream some of those games too. And that's it. It was just like the 3 or 4 of us. And then, slowly but surely, I'd add one person and somebody else would invite somebody. And then, I kind of just, hadn't been really paying too much attention. I would just kind of comment in it and chat in it, and I start seeing more and more names. So I'm like, well, first off, I didn't invite these people, but that's, other people just adding everybody, or cruelly adding everybody because, he's got the admin access on Slack. And then I looked the other day and there's like 35, 36 people that are in there, and I'm like, holy crap, we had that many people who are interested in streaming. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's great to see how much that's grown, and many hands make light work. I don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to stream Bastion's game against somebody else because there's only 3 of us streamers, and we're East Coast, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning for Dan or whatever like that, so he's going to bed, and it's like I can just get up early, and now we actually have people all over the world who can do those games. So when the OCS playoffs come up here in just a few weeks, and we start doing those, we should have lots of great coverage and lots of different perspectives, and it's amazing how much this whole thing has really grown over the last few years.
Yeah, Kendall, how about your thoughts? I know you streamed your own games and you've commentated games, joined a world.
So when it comes to streaming, my advice to people is the same as my advice to podcasting. The bar is very low. I'm not the world's greatest player, and I know the first time I streamed was for the NPC last year. They stuck me with some random people that were talking the whole time, and I didn't know what was going on, but I was hosting the stream. And then since then, I've streamed a bunch of my own games. I was unemployed last summer, so I streamed a lot, and then for the various online majors, I've streamed, and I like really, especially with the majors, like people just want to watch something because if you can't because of the way GEMP works, sometimes
and be able to talk to each other.
Everybody being able to do the spectator thing there, so you're just kind of hanging out on the stream, and I'm talking to the chat about giving them trivia about the Star Wars Holiday Special or the various merits of Wendy's versus McDonald's. Half the time I'm not even paying attention to the game. But so I wouldn't watch my streams if you want to get better at Star Wars cards unless it's the only option. But I try to be entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all streaming is good streaming in a lot of ways because that's a good point. Because when you're watching the games on GEMP, you can't really talk with other people. The spectator comments are disabled. So at the very least, it's just a way for everyone to watch and talk and discuss lines of play and whatnot.
And it's like you do it. Even if you do it, I'm sure that people would say this about some of my streams, but I've watched some streams over the years, not just of Star Wars cards, but of other things where the person is kind of like barely saying anything for half the time, but you get it, you put yourself out there, you do it, it's fun. And the great thing about the Star Wars card community is there's a lot less people streaming Star Wars cards than there are like Skyrim or whatever. So if you post in the Facebook group and you post in the Slack that you're going to stream at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, 4 or 5 people are going to pop into your chat and tell you all the things you did wrong. So
yeah.
You shouldn't have initiated a battle there. I'm like, I know, I just lost 4 characters and he lost nothing.
Yeah, Matt, any closing thoughts on your experiences streaming and digesting streams and watching them?
I haven't done any streaming, but I have watched a heck of a lot of stream games, including kind of when I came back to the game. And I've watched I had my game streamed for the first time last year. I got to play live on stream at Nationals this year. And I've gone back and watched those games. And just like if you submit a game link to Gogolen to review, you'll see your mistakes, and they're painful. And but you learn a lot by watching someone else's games be streamed because there's a third party, the commentators, and the people who are in the chat. Can talk about lines of play, but there's nothing better than watching your own games and making notes of them, and then having someone else provide some feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
So
All right, one more.
Stream games if you can.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to piggyback that real quick, I remember a conversation 4 or 5 years ago where we were streaming games at a live at an event, and Johnny Chu, who many arguably consider one of, if the top two, top three greatest players who ever played the game, was actually so excited that his games were streamed because he said, I can't believe we're finally streaming and saving these games. I can't wait to go watch it and find all the mistakes I made.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guy who, multiple world championships, Hall of Fame player, realizing he didn't play a perfect game and realizing the little things he could have possibly done differently, and actually excited to be able to go watch the stream to figure out how he could improve still. And if that's a guy who's willing to put in the time and work to improve and still learn things, everybody else has that same opportunity to try and watch yourself play and learn, from what you did and what you could have done better.
Yeah.
That said, you're not required to watch your own streams, because that sounds like the worst. If I was going to watch my own streams, that sounds like the most. That's like my own personal hell. But because I mean, I also am not super interested in getting better at the game. I mean, I want to get better, but not enough to watch my own streams.
Not to change off court and 12 card TRM.
There's a cost benefit analysis going on, and not really.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying. Don't feel like there's benefits to streaming, even if you're just playing your own game and putting it out there, and talking to people and know that you are doing, at least to some degree, when you are streaming, you are putting Star Wars cards out into the real world community, whatever. Somebody Googles Star Wars and you're just a little bit more likely for them to accidentally stumble on your stream and be like, oh, Star Wars cards is a thing. And,
there's lots of content.
Then dust off their box of Luke Skywalker Jedi Knights and, come to the next event with an unsleeved Dark Surgeon deck.
Yeah, gosh. All right.
Oh, it sounds painful.
All right, so for my co-host and guest, so guys, think about in the next minute or so, I want a prediction for the future of Star Wars CCG programming. Think about a prediction. In the meantime, I have a communing foil card that I'm going to give away to the chat.
Ooh,
So I'm going to ask a pretty easy Star Wars CCG question, and the first person to respond in the chat will get it. And yeah, we'll go from there. So here's the question. Now that I've teased this for a while, I'm sure a lot of you guys are on the edge of your seat. So let me find my little thing, my list here.
Gotta get my fingers ready to type here real quick.
So name a droid that has a bold characteristic in its lore and the characteristic. So name a droid that has a bold characteristic in its lore and the characteristic.
Actually,
right.
you know what? I just thought of two more.
All right, so I think Taco Bill is still in Legacy because Heroic is not. It looks like Derek Jackson's going to get it. He's got P60. Oh, wait, no, P60 is not. Is P60 a leader? P59's a leader.
No, P59's a leader.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
I forgot about that one. But
We're going down here.
3 in my brain that I can think of.
So Dan just named 5d6. I need the characteristic, too. It looks like, unless P60 is a leader, which would be Derek, it looks like it's going to be Gray Chevy Van, which I think is Eric. 5d6 is a spy, right?
It's a...
I know ISB agent for sure. Yeah, he's got to be, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I think it's going to go to Eric.
He is a spy.
Hall Baker. Right? I mean, check me. You said R2D2 heroic, Bill. Unless I'm missing something. Oh, also spy.
Yeah.
All right. So
R2D2, that's what
I
came to
always
my
mess
mind
these up.
first.
Stop doing these.
Then you've got the bounty hunters.
Orlov,
Orlov.
IG-88, yeah. Everybody else was overthinking it.
I should have said it in the same line. That would make it easier to determine who actually gets it. All right, so maybe we'll get one to Bill, or Bill I think should definitely get one, and maybe Gray Chevy Van too. So I have a couple extra.
Gray Chevy Van, hopefully are you coming out to the Corellia Regionals?
If you say yes, you get it. If not, no.
He's a Corellia guy.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll see you there on the 25th.
All right. So moving along, and I want to try to keep this not too long so Scott doesn't yell at me. But yeah, so let's do Chris. Any predictions? Predictions for the future of Star Wars CCG programming.
I think 2 hours. It's got to be like great. I'm so excited. Everybody watch for 2 hours. Yeah, no, I think we're going to keep obviously streaming, and it's going to get more involved. And there's every year there's talks about doing hand cameras at World, so you can actually see what the people are holding in their hands. But bandwidth wise, that hasn't never really worked out, or the cards are just too small to really see for hidden cameras like that. But just in terms of content, I feel like the shows we have are going to continue on, and I feel like new people in the community are going to start taking advantage of how easy it is to stream and start creating their own content, and we're just going to see, Star Wars programming several nights a week.
Cool. Yeah, that's good stuff. Kendall, what do you got?
2 words. Star Wars CCG TikTok.
Yeah, I guess that's social media,
I
right?
registered bad Star Wars CCG on TikTok, but I still am not quite sure what TikTok is.
Yeah.
We need to get some more Holotheatre people on this, and I suspect we'll get some good stuff out of it.
Cool, that's good. And then Matt, what do you got?
My prediction is that I get to meet Kendall in person for the first time in about 2 weeks.
Yes,
nice.
Yes. That's going to be great.
Nice. That'll be good.
So,
get a
Online
picture.
version is just as good as the online version.
Yeah. And just to wrap.
We'll compare beard lengths at that point. And maybe I'll drink some Crown Royal.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Go.
That sounds good.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, just my 2 thoughts on this were I think maybe we should get some more podcasts, or maybe possibly. I mean, Bad Deck Breakdowns is great, but probably use another 1 or 2. I know it's such a visual game, though, so it lends itself more so a lot of times like Gogolen Show and Holotheatre. But I think podcasts are good because and we've gotten some feedback that those are good as you're mowing the lawn or in your commute, or you can just digest more Star Wars CCG content as you're doing other stuff. And then
there is a very high demand for Star Wars CCG audio content, because a lot of people do. The numbers that I've gotten, I do a lot of podcasts that nobody listens to, and of all my podcasts that nobody listens to, my Star Wars CCG stuff consistently has 2 or 3 times as many downloads as the other stuff. So
keep that in mind.
I mean, there are people that are interested in listening to this stuff, and there definitely can be more than one, because I don't want to be the definitive one.
Gold standard. And yeah, the one other thing that I think crossed my mind is Dylan or Timo, I feel like he's starting to beef with about 6 different people, are showcase matches. I think those would be kind of neat, especially like in the off season where, maybe like November, December. I know him and Brad Kipple, they play each other in a lot of different formats. So we have something in the works for that. And I think it'll make a lot more sense in like November after Worlds. Everyone's prepping for Worlds, getting their September ACS games in. So I think that'll be kind of neat. But I think those showcase matches, and I know people like, I think Joe Olsen and Desai have talked about that a little bit too. Like, let's do a challenge match, and those would be pretty cool and entertaining. So that's our wrap, with this segment, with programming and how all the different programs tie together in the future and all. So I think we'll transition the program now into more news and notes. So hopefully everyone's set. And again, I'm going to, I think, do 3 more rounds of giveaways, and then I'll probably do 2 for 2 more of these communing foils for people that watch on the replay, and just submit to marketing@starwarsccg.org. And if I get like 6 submissions, I'll just randomly pick 2. All right, so news and notes.
Of course, the people on the show, they all get the foils, right?
Yes, I will take care of you guys. Yeah, and that's a good point, too. These commuting foils are not going to be exclusively, they will be available to other people. This is not a one-time, only ever Brian Fred. Don't get worried.
Right.
So let me move.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You guys, if you ever are considering creating content or otherwise volunteering for the PC gives out some pretty good swag. So do that.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
There you go.
Yeah, I
This
just
is
the shirt that I got in the mail today. So
there you go. I have one of these that is a donor Pilsner that's upstairs.
Yep.
I like
right now I'm holding this guy hostage.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
nice.
that's a good one.
Content creator.
It was Java Council
Oh,
for
Yeah.
Bill Gates.
I like that. I like that.
all right. So let's
It's
talk
actually
about.
This
a
is-
literal
this is
Java
the-
Cup.
Oh, there you go.
No, this is the team tournament from Nationals Pilsner.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's nice.
Because Bill Kafer wanted to win glass, and so we did.
Speaking of team tournaments in glass, we have Worlds coming up. Good segue, CRT.
There you go.
So it's a little more than 3 weeks away. I got up here on the forum. This is the schedule. You can go to the forum. It's at the top. Everyone check it out. It's a little over 3 weeks away. Pre-register. Get a special prize, which I'll talk about in a minute. We have our great banner here that Ming made. 4 major events over the course of the weekend. Throwback event on Friday. Team tournament Friday night. Main event Saturday, and then the top 8 for the main event on Sunday, along with the consolation event. There's going to be a ton of prizes. I keep trying to have all these different lists of what to do versus what's announced, and making sure that everything ties together and make sure we bring everything. There's going to be a lot of stuff, and I think that's great for us being able to do live events again that we weren't able to do for a while. So look out for that. Pre-registered. Chris is maintaining this thread, so we're at looks like 37, 39.
In a
just
row.
updated.
39 now, yep.
Yeah. So we have 2 weeks, and I totally understand because just as uncertainty, maybe you could still get your pre-registration prize if you register on the 30th. And I think one of these days I'm going to ask EVT to do like an analytic on when people sign up for majors, because I feel like it's always so. And Chris probably knows this better than anybody. It's always so weighted right at the end. And people.
There's everybody who signs up right away who knows I'm going to the event. Let me sign up. Let me get it out of the way. Let me get whatever early bird registration bonus prize they're giving away like that first week or first 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And then there's a lull, and then it's the tournament registration closes in like 2 days. Yeah, I better sign up for it real quick. So I get in under the wire and I don't have to bring cash to the tournament, and do it. And it's always like, that last 24 hours that we get like, we're up to 40 people or 39 people now. A few more will trickle in. We'll be at like 45 maybe by the time, and then that last day, like 15 more will sign up.
Yeah. My guess is I think we'd be at 60 is where we end up.
Yeah,
in May.
guys, just to ask. Normally, I post over/under type stuff like this in the Slack chat,
Mhm.
but we're at 39 now. Maybe I was thinking over/under at 50.5. You guys think we'll clear that?
Over. Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
60.
I think we'll beat that.
Unless something apocalyptic happens in the next month, which is very possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Hopefully
not.
Parent of children who are going to school who can't get vaccinated. Zip it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even if you're someone who doesn't really care for the foils I announced are they're going to be the Communing Jedi. There's 3 of them. I initially announced that we're just going to do one. Pick your one of the 3. That will probably change. But I can't guarantee. I think it'll change just to make Brian Fred happy. But
I when I put together decks for nationals, I grossly underestimated how much I like putting PC foils and AIs in the decks I would play.
yeah,
I was really surprised by how fun that was, and then to be able to put them down on the table during games.
yeah, they're really cool. I like to use them as much as possible, especially because the graphics does such great work and they're really neat and stuff like the Japanese AI foils, stuff like that's really cool from like Reflections 4. But here's the throwback event. If you're, it looks like right now there's no one who's registered just for this, so it looks like it's going to be a lot of open veterans. But again, I think in the next 15 days, maybe 16 days, people get a little more certain about traveling, whether they're going or not, signing up, and getting the pre-registration prizes. So this will be cool with Premier Reflections 2. Everyone build your Watch Your Step decks and hopefully some other light side decks, but the prizes are really sweet. Really looking forward to this. And there's going to be commentary on it, which Dan's going to be leading with Taco Bill and Justin Miyashiro. And that'll be cool to have a good solid Friday event. I think when we did Worlds, Chris, back in Morristown, there was a pretty cool tune-up event on Friday. But if people are going to travel, let's play some of this great game as much as possible, right?
You're here for the weekend, you came to play some Star Wars. If you want to do some sightseeing, stay a couple extra days and do that kind of stuff. Like, you don't get an opportunity to play live Star Wars very often, let alone against people that you don't normally play every month in your local tournaments if you're in a region that even has tournaments. meet some of the people that you've heard about, play some games against some of these people, play some different formats, play some different decks throughout the weekend, and just immerse yourself in the community and the experience. It's totally worth it.
For sure.
If you want your experience to play against me during the event, I will likely be at many of the lower tables. So, you can even, you don't even have to do well at the event.
And then interview him afterwards, right, Kendall? You're gonna
Yeah,
be,
I am. This is I did sort of soft announce it on the forums, but I'm going to try to do some audio content, including what my friend from back in my Magic podcasting days called 3 questions, in which I ask people 3 questions. That's a good way to get a little short mini interviews with a lot of people. So if you're interested in being involved in that, then bug me about it while we're actually at the event.
For sure.
And Kendall, I saw that and I thought, are we gonna? Is this the same 3 questions?
Yes.
Okay.
I will have.
Good.
I will have. Yeah, I will have. I don't know what they are yet, but I will have 3 questions to ask people, and they will be something. I don't know. And I'll probably also have you introduce yourself or something too. But
Right.
But
Who are you? 3 questions, 5 minutes.
And the James Lipton questions, right?
You have to get one of those big giant index cards too, with the logo of your show, or something on the back of it, so it feels like they're on a game show contestant.
Yeah. Oh. So that's Worlds. So everyone sign up. I hope to see you guys all there
I'm
in
signed
over
up.
3
You all
weeks.
should be.
I think all 4 people on this,
I
this
signed up
show
today.
tonight will be there.
I'm going.
Yep.
Kendall signed up today with Ming, and they were 38 and 39, and the throwback event is going to be really fun too, because looking at the list of people who are registered for the World Championships, half these people, either didn't really play or didn't really play competitively back in 2000, 2001, when this particular throwback format was the format of the time. So it's always nice to see what take these people bring to the game and what they've learned 20 years later, looking back on card interactions and things like that people didn't do back then, or how the rules have changed that now open up new strategies that weren't viable or wouldn't have been successful 20
Now
years ago.
you made me want to bring my dark side deck that had Fondor as the only location, and then 22 TIE fighters.
There you go.
The Executor. And no red cards.
Were they white border TIE
I would
fighters?
play red cards.
That sounds like a really bad deck.
Yeah. And just a reminder that theme for Worlds is going to be the Grand Inquisitor. That's going to be the AI. There's going to be quote mugs and T-shirts, and I think 1 or 2 other things. There's going to be a lot of prize support. Don't miss out. And we've touched about this a little bit, but I thought of this I saw this meme today about I have no idea what cards I own, as we all are trying to build physical decks again. Chris and I were just talking about this. We're leading up to our regionals this Sunday of where are your cards? Do you have to cut out new stuff? Do you have old slips? And this one made me laugh.
I'm glad they let us back in our. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I haven't touched physical cards since Worlds in Germany 2 years ago. So.
Oh wow. I'm glad they let the folks in my office back in our office in early June, so I could print out slips and such easily for nationals. I'm going to go again because of VSET 16 and the erratas for Worlds next week.
Yep. So that segues actually into our regionals, which Chris and I are doing our Coruscant regionals this Sunday. There have been, so I just want to plug these and announce them. There's some results and some upcoming. Looks like we've had 4 so far. This is a little out of date. Naboo got postponed, but Bespin, Charlie Arlinson won, Endor, Joe Olson won, Yavin 4, Patrick M. Johnson won, PMJ, Tatooine, Justin Miyashiro won. And we have Coruscant this weekend, and then next weekend, as Kendall mentioned, Corellia in Columbus, Ohio. Coruscant, it's in Blue Bell. It's right outside of Philly. So if you're in the area, you want to play, all welcome. And Dagoba's down in Atlanta. And then Ryloth, which is the Netherlands, is going to be later this year in November. And Batmouse, when are you guys having it? I think he's in the chat. So I think Alderain's might be the only one that I'm pretty sure is going to happen, just not sure when.
I'm very excited about this Dagobah regional, because I know that some of the Team New Allies guys are traveling that weekend to Atlanta to kind of do some Worlds playtesting. So you'll have people who are not native, Dagobah, Atlanta people. Matt, I don't know if Matt's going to that one. Probably not.
I'll be in
Pretty far.
Iceland. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
But I know there's be some out of towners at that event, so I'll be very curious to see just exactly what gets played and how people. Charlie might win a second regional. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, wow,
This will
that's
be
cool.
the
Yeah, no, I'm going to Iceland right before Worlds, and so I'm going to come back the Wednesday before Worlds. I've got a day Thursday, and I'm flying out to DC Friday morning. So I got to have my decks like next week.
Ready to go.
This will be the first tournament in Ohio. Unless Brad ran one when I wasn't looking. I think it'll probably be the first tournament in Ohio since about 2007. So yeah,
Good for you,
hopefully
Kendall.
people show up. There's a handful of Ohio people that have kind of come out of the woodwork in the last year on the Facebook group and stuff. So we'll see if they come. The Pittsburgh crew said they might come. So hopefully we have a good showing. And if you're in the area or whatever, then come. I mean, if you want to win a regional, this one might be a good one to win because many of us are not very good.
Yeah, there's cool prizes for it and travel vouchers for first and second place. And then just a quick plug. So the deck lists are getting submitted. They're all here. They're getting up pretty quickly thanks to the help of Sean Lukes and Brad Iyer and James Martin, the deck list scribe team. So that's pretty cool. So they're all in this one place. So you can, hey, wow, there's a lot of CCT at Endor. Interesting. And as we get ready for Worlds. So we're going to try to, they have to be posted on the forums in some form within a week. But looks like we won't have an issue basically getting them all up by like October 1st. So check there.
I appreciate all of you doing deck lists and typing them out. I used to do that. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately,
Thank you.
Jump, it's a little easier. People can just export it, and then it's a quick copy paste. Not everyone does that, but if you guys can all do that, that's a good PSA, actually. That makes things a lot easier. Let's do another giveaway.
For any tournaments, the Jump export lists, just put it in the body of an email or attach the text file and just email it on over.
Yeah.
It saves everybody so much time. It saves you so much time. You don't have to sit there handwriting 60 cards out. I mean, some of you have very pretty handwriting, and we enjoy seeing it. But some of you,
I don't.
I don't know if that says Luke or Vader. Who knows what the hell?
That's the strategy. You have both cards.
Your only exception is it Mike Richards that writes them on pizza boxes and Coke boxes and things like that?
It was Brian Harold.
Brian Harold. Yeah.
Brian Harold.
It was a pizza lid. It was a cereal box. Yeah, whatever he could find in the hotel.
I have done a pack of Coke before, Coca-Cola. So he's exempt.
Also,
My power whatever they are.
When you export the list, you don't write down the wrong card on your list and then either get a game loss or have to play with a card you didn't intend to, as some players have also been forced to do.
You could also export it and then get an MS Paint file of a pizza box and then just copy and paste it over there.
Yeah. All right, let's do a giveaway.
That's all right.
Of another communing foil. So everyone get ready. I'm going to announce an easy trivia question. And first to respond in the chat gets it. All right, hopefully everyone's ready. So what virtual set is Moff Gideon in? What virtual set is Moff Gideon in? Oh, no. Dan gets it. Virtual set 12, aka it's kind of conflated with the tweak set, as Chris Kelly would call it a lot, because there was a bunch of errata around that time. But that was March. That was like a week after COVID hit. There's only 6 new cards technically in that, and because then V13 was like Shadow Collective made its debut, New Watch Your Step. So Dan gets it.
First Mandalorian themed card, right?
Yeah. Yes. Dan on the other side of the, what is it, looking glass? Is that the phrase? All right. So.
That would be the phrase.
And again, reminder, this is not the only time these community photos are going to be given out, but I will have these, I'll either mail them or have these to the people in time for Worlds, give them to you at Worlds if you're there, so you can put them right in your deck if you're playing communing, which, is anyone really going to be playing communing? No.
I mean, who's not?
Yeah.
At some point this weekend.
I think that's a swing and a miss question. Right?
Yeah. So let's go.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So next segment, and this is right up Chris's alley, I'm sure, the OCS scoreboard update. I am watching this very closely. There was an article that was generated here, this is a pretty crazy month. There's 7 bids up for grabs, 2 for September, 3 for the season at large, and 2 for season 2 at large. And
There's 3 scoreboards to watch simultaneously.
exactly.
That's awesome.
Yep. And there's a lot of overlap on some of them. So I updated these as I have Jemp here. I updated these, or let me unhide my scoreboard watching here, which is kind of what I've been doing, updating this gradually throughout the month. But let me hide this. Again, this is me being a JV host. So here we go. So the full season at large. I mean, the monthly ones, I think Derek Jackson's in first with 10-2, with a great showing. 10-2 has qualified before. I don't think this year, but last year I think there was 2 or 3. Yeah, great showing. But for and that'll come into focus more later in the month. But here we have the yearly bids, and I'd say there's maybe 8 people in the running. And I do this thing where I just kind of assume everyone wins out, and then what happens, just to kind of judge relatively who's where. If you go 12-0, you better qualify that month. That would really stink not to. Or even if you go 11-1, you're probably. But one of the cool things, and I'll pause here as I just have this thing up, but one of the cool things this year is that there's Player of the Year points on the line, even if you've already qualified. So that's where we're seeing people like Bastion's taking these all very seriously. I think he's taking seriously, although he might play some decks that we don't think are serious, but he plays them just as good as anybody else, obviously. So
Bastion
this
wants the
scoreboard,
first pick. That's
yeah.
He
Yeah.
wants 2 things. He's never missed a game. There's a very short list of people who have played all, X number of games every season of the OCS.
6 of us.
He's on that list, and he
Yep.
wants to make sure he stays there. And Bastion always wants the number 1 pick, so he wants to be able to pick his opponent. So he will never let up and take it easy because he is not going to risk losing out on that advantage and that opportunity.
For sure.
I think Bastion is probably my pick for best Star Wars card player of all time. I think that's where
it's a very short list, and he's certainly in the discussion.
Yeah.
Objectively, he has won more world championships than anybody else. And majors, probably him and Shannon.
And his name is Winklehouse, and he has this glorious baritone voice. You can't not love him.
Yeah.
See, because I've shared more hotel rooms with Johnny Chu, but I've done more podcasts or podcast adjacent things with Bastion, and so I think that's very telling.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate he can't come to Worlds this year. So
yeah. So someone else can win an in-person Worlds for the first time since 2017.
It'll be like Rocky 3. They'll win, but then you got to actually fight Rocky to really win.
No.
Isn't that the plot of Rocky 3?
He fights Drago. Yeah. Or Rocky 3 is Creed. Creed.
Rocky 3 is Mr. T.
No, Mr. T. Yeah, Clubber Lang. My bad.
Mr. T becomes the heavyweight champion but Rocky is retired. But so people are like, oh, you're not really the heavyweight champion because Rocky retired.
Yeah. Rocky is all things Rocky is a pop culture blind spot. Except I know that someone actually ran the path he goes through on Rocky 1, and it's about a 50-kilometer run. So no, Sylvester Stallone did not do that.
They also didn't get permission to film that, by the way. They didn't have permission from the city. People just thought he was just running, and there was a guy in the back of a truck with a camera just filming him as he was running through. And when they saw the cops, they just hopped in the truck and took off.
Yeah, that's one thing with in-person Worlds. I won't be able to listen to the Rocky 4 soundtrack as I'm playing games like I did last year. So that's going to be a bummer. So that's the OCS update. A lot to shake out, a lot of exciting stuff. If you see these people playing games, it's going to probably have at-large implications. So yeah, exciting stuff. All right, so that's that.
Whole new meta going on right now too. Obviously, with the big set 16 drop came out earlier than expected. We were all kind of expecting it last weekend. It came out before the holiday, so shook things up a little earlier in the month. We kind of figured there'd be this weird divide, like sometimes we see. People will try and cram their games in because they liked the current meta and had it figured out, versus the people who wanted to wait for the new cards and then see how it changed and then kind of cram their games in the last week or two. But we got the set dropped earlier, so it's been more of the new set, and I think a lot of people still have a lot of games left to play as they're kind of just sitting on the sidelines watching for a week or two, seeing what some of these new cards do, and first off, making sure that everything's working right,
Mhm.
so we don't have glitches like Obi just continuously adding 41 power in a battle because you have that much force available or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, and thanks to all the volunteers, especially I know like Echo Base Trooper, Chris Kelly, the proofing team, the graphics team, slicers. Just incredible effort by all the volunteers. Playtesting, design, everybody. I'm
Join
apologize if I'm forgetting
playtesting.
anybody.
If you're thinking about it, join playtesting. It's easy. The bar is very low. You just have to play a few games, and then everybody will like you.
And write your reports.
Yeah.
Write some reports, talk about things that worked, or if it seemed too easy, if it's set up too quickly, too automatically. Those are the kind of things we just need people just running reps, figuring out, like, hey, turn one automatically, you get 7 cards out of your deck, and you still have your same starting hand. It's like, well, this is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. All right.
It
So
will make you a better player, I promise.
It does that too.
So the next segment here, this is a really neat thing. So some of you guys might remember last year there was online European Championships, and there was a call put out by Tomas for donations for Zuiden which is the place in Bochum where I know holds Worlds, and I know everyone in Europe absolutely loves it. All the Americans that went there for Worlds a couple years ago love this place, and hopefully someday I can get there. But we have a video where Chris Menzel went and delivered the donations to the store, and this is really cool. And I just really hope that the audio works. So those in the chat, let me know if you can't hear this. I have a plan B in case this doesn't work. But let's just take a couple minutes and watch this. This is really good stuff.
Chris Menzel, the Euro Emperor, and we are at our favorite location, zu den vier Winden in Bochum, our tournament location for 2019.
Yeah, we can see it, I can't hear it.
For maybe one of the next 1 or 2 years. So I'm going into Vader mode. So we have collected some money for you guys because we made an online tournament and collected something because bad Corona times make good
Everything maxed.
locations, make it hard for good locations also for you guys.
I have everything maxed up. So let me try out my plan B just so everyone can hear it. Let's see.
Und los.
Hello, Star Wars players.
Can anyone hear that?
Chris Menzel, the Euro Emperor, and we are at our favorite location, zu den vier Winden in Bochum, our tournament location for 2019 and hopefully for maybe one of the next 1 or 2 years. So I'm going into Vader mode. So we have collected some money for you guys because we made an online tournament and collected something because bad Corona times make good locations, make it hard for good locations also for you guys. I know that you are still working elsewhere and that it's not super urgent, so I want to come myself and give it to you myself. Also community collected, also the American players, and Tamas organized the whole thing. So for zu den vier Winden we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,000.
No.
60. This is for student and because I have not donated anything yet. I give some money for Damien and for Bibi, 100 each. Because you're always here been for years, and yeah, this is from the Star Wars Players Committee, and hopefully we can play here again soon. Bye, Star Wars Players. We're getting some hugs now. Yeah? Fuck the mess.
I didn't have my volume on my phone up. I'm like, that's why I can't hear it.
It disappeared for us. Just like disappeared for me. Okay.
That was absolutely super awesome that we were able to do that for them. And the 4 wins, I think, is what it translates to. The title of the establishment. That's where the World Championships were 2 years ago. I got to play there. Great people who run that event. They were anything we could try and think of that we could need. We were trying to set up the camera and set up the streaming for it. They're like pulling out stuff left and right for us to try and hang the camera from. I think we used at one point, it was like an old mop handle and like half of a crutch that they found in a closet. And, okay, is this right? Is this right? Great people, super friendly, went way above and beyond to host this event for us. And we were just really grateful that we could do something for them to kind of help make sure that business stays open. A lot of businesses had unfortunately had to close their doors during the pandemic and may never reopen. And we want to make sure that this one who's done so much for the European community was really able to weather the storm and host many European championships and potentially world championships to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize if it was a little low at the beginning, but hopefully people heard. It was really cool. I think the amount, in case anyone didn't hear it, it was like 1,300, and then Chris gave another, I think, 200. And just seeing the joy and the hugs, it was really, really great stuff. And I think the relationship that the European players, and I guess all of us now, all the Americans that went over have with that place is incredible. So really, really great stuff. So if anyone couldn't hear it, reach out to me. We'll probably post it somewhere else just so it's more visible, but I apologize again for my technical non-know-how. Yeah, that's actually a good call for sure. So just wanted to convey that news pass it along from the Euro Emp. All right, so let's finish up some more news and notes. I'm gonna have 2 more giveaways. We are gonna go over that. That's okay. Chris told me we can, so I'll blame him. Yeah, so some more news and notes, more things going on. We have the September deck building challenge. The winner will get a Mara Talon Corrin card. Hold on.
One of the oversized cards. Nice.
Cool card.
Pretty impressive.
Oh wait, not this one. Not a signed
Three of them
one.
sitting around the cantina. It's a great picture. Great oversized card of them.
So this is a really cool prize. Yeah, so everyone should participate. I think there have been a couple submissions so far. You guys should know the deal by now. You do what Dan tells you to do, and you submit proof that it happened, and we go from there. But in celebration of Hollow 100, wanted to pick up the prize support a little bit more. So everyone participate in that. I guess if there's 3, 4, 5 submissions, we'll figure something out. I don't know if everyone's going to be getting one of those, but you go through the effort and submit it. I'll make sure you get something. All right. So that's a deck building challenge. I think the challenge is use Holotheatre as your starting location and win the game. And I think it's got to be a league game. Although I think it could be like Jawa or other formats. The details are all in this thread. It's in the forum. There's a separate content creation forum and then Holotheatre there, or you could probably just look at recent posts. It'll pop up.
So that's all of the Jedi sealed format or something might work.
What is Holotheatre's activation?
That would be cool. If you could do it in all the Jedi, that'll be really good.
It's a 1-0 site, but you get +1 if Emperor or Vader on table, +2 for both. So.
Okay. So actually, I'm going to go just a tad order because I do want to talk about V16 with you guys just for a little bit, get your guys' thoughts. But I just want to do a couple quick announcements. So I announced on the forum we have these poker chips that are really cool that we're going to get another batch on. I know some people like to collect them, so I just wanted to convey that news. Let me toss it to Matt. What are your thoughts on the poker chips?
I love them. I love them. I'm sitting in a deck box. I don't use them for anything. I think I pulled out for like tokens in D&D games, but I just love having them around. I know some people use them for like 3PO. You put it on 3PO just to like say, hey, I used him this turn, or like once per turn type of things. But it's a good like tactile thing to have that's not cards, if you will.
They're so creative because they're the color. There's like effect interrupt because there was and that's what the point of this thread is just to say here's the checklist, just so everyone kind of knows. Right. And some of them are more rare than others. I remember one of these threads. I think Bastion said somewhere about I have a lot. Purple isn't that rare. Doesn't everyone have a bunch of purples? And it's like purple's like elite performance, like top 8 majors and the like. So there's one exciting part. So
right, Bastion doesn't get the participation trophies. He only gets the first place trophies.
Yeah. So credit
to these green ones. I don't have any of these green ones. How do I get those? It's like
So thanks to Matt Carulli for showing these pictures. But the batch one will be credits will defined, or batch one was batch two. So I read the mess, and batch three will be either way you win. And one cool thing about batch three is there's going to be batch three is going to be all these 15 from before, but there's going to be more, and they're going to have a different slogan. And there's also going to be a rare new 16th design. So once we get the shipment, I'll tease that a little bit. It's going to be in here a couple weeks, and can't promise it, but it looks like these are going to be here in time for Worlds. So I would love to bring some and give out some. Fingers crossed. So yeah, that's the poker chips. Want to plug the Twitter account, which James Martin's doing a great job with. We are at, let me refresh if we got any new. We're at 994 followers. And if you guys know me and read anything that I have done in the last year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, I like round numbers and I like milestones. So we are almost at 1,000. And not that I'm going to say explicitly what's going to happen because I don't want anyone, monkeying with the reaching it, but something will probably happen once we get to 1,000. So I encourage you to follow the account for news. It interfaces with Slack too. So, but it's one of the main ways that we communicate stuff that's going on.
You can also follow at Bad Star Wars CCG.
Yes.
I'm up to 123 followers. So.
I think we like a lot of your stuff, Kendall.
yeah, you do. It's great.
Daily or weekly bad advice or mocking of other things.
It's mostly just memes.
Yeah.
But,
there's some really good memes. So poker chips, Twitter account.
The protest one lately was great.
Pretty happy with how that one turned out.
Let me just do one more plug, and Chris, talk about the store a little bit. So you were the PC store manager. This is where everyone goes for events and cards, and yeah, everyone should buy cards if they need stuff.
I will freely admit I'm behind on inventory and updating things. I know we're out of stock of a lot of items. Some of the stuff we probably have. I had everything pretty well organized, and then we bought a new house in July and moved, and everything kind of just got shoved somewhere. And some of it's actually still in my other house because I haven't sold that yet. So some of it is there, some of it is in the new house, and so updating inventory and things like that is on my to-do list, and hopefully I can tackle it because I know people will want cards for Worlds. So hopefully I can try and at least get at least some of the stuff that I know is new, some of the new virtual cards that may have come out, like Jared, we were talking earlier, you didn't own a Danik Jericho, who is a new virtualized character that people may want to play in their Shadow Collective decks. So hopefully I can get at least some of those cards into the store and updated and to make them available. But we do have a store. It's got a lot of great stuff in there, and hopefully it'll get updated.
Before you got the Dan Jericho, that's iconic.
Yeah, I have one in my collector's collection, but I wanted one for my player's collection, so I didn't have to dig in there. But and Chris, you'll bring the played binder to Worlds, right?
Yes, I will have the binder of usable played condition, cards, EPPs, some higher quality rares, maybe even a few AIs that are a little dinged up. Might just be like a Jedi Luke or something in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I bought one of my Emperors from you for $80 in 2019, and you held up two condition Emperors, and you were like, "This one is better condition than this one," and I was like, "I'll take your word for it," and then you sold it to me.
I dig it.
I did sell the
I'm
calendar.
I'm excited to see that binder in person.
Yeah, I got a General Jar Jar from it, I remember once. An AI General Jar Jar.
There's all kinds of stuff in there, and it's usually fairly well discounted, especially things like AIs and stuff like that, because most people who want to buy them through the store are the collectors who want them to put aside, not to play with. So trying to sell a card that's damaged, it takes a little longer, and I'd rather keep them in the community and have them show up on screen on a live stream or something like that. It's always fun to see, AI, especially if cards you don't see very often, like an AI General Jar Jar pop up, and it's like, all right, cool, that's a card you don't get to see a lot, and have it be on camera is also even better.
Yeah.
I think I got my AI General Jar Jar as a participation trophy.
Nice.
It was one of those events back in the day where you had everybody in the event, you had like a bunch of cards that you laid out on the table, and then everybody that played picked. And that's how I got my AI General Jar Jar. So that means there must have been at least 7 better cards than that on the table.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do them face down, and it's hiding in there somewhere, and it's playing the match game, and it's like, "Ooh, what's this card?" And you're like, "Hey."
Yeah.
That's
Those
fair.
were the days.
All
Cards
right.
are cheap.
I got giveaway number 3. So for our communing foil.
Speaking of
Ask another
cheap
easy
cards,
trivia.
giveaway number 3.
So name a blanked virtual card since the 2014 reset. Name a blanked virtual card since the 2014 reset. All right. Oh, this makes it easy. All right. So Taco Bell, first one, and that resolves our issue with the first one. Bill's probably gonna be like, I want 2, but yes. All right. So Bill's the first one in with Young Skywalker, who I kind of like. Jim Tom used to use
You
him.
don't need 2 copies.
Rebel Gunrunner. I had never heard of that. That must be pre-reset.
That's from Legacy.
All right.
It was one of the cards that broke Chumuning, right?
Not the one you stacked the weapon on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So
somebody corrected me the other day. Somebody corrected me that Chumuning is spelled CHU, not CHEW. So was it called Chumuning because Johnny Chew made it, or because it had Chewbacca in it?
I thought it was the other way because it was Chewie's bowcaster that you kind of featured and focused on.
See, that's what I thought too. Okay, so I'm not crazy. Whether I spelled it right or wrong, who cares? But at least, maybe it was a play on words. Maybe both were true. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm on Holotheatre with the resident historian, so I was able to ask a question.
And it could certainly be, because it was a KTOD style deck that they had a lot of success with it, that maybe it kind of went from one spelling to the other.
Right. Yeah.
Because you pronounce them both the same, so people might have just taken one and ran with it the other way, but who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as my meme was still correct, then that's all that really matters.
I guess Justin's not in the chat because otherwise he would have corrected me on that.
Because play testing probably for World. So let's talk about V16 a little bit. Maybe like five minutes or so. Hopefully you guys have had a chance. I'm sure, Kendall, you got to adapt your court and your 12 card TRM for any new cards. But let's go around the horn. So this came out on the 3rd, as Gogolen mentioned. It's all operational in VKit and it's Conflict Access, which is cool. Again, I think we got spoiled because like 2-3 years ago, a new PDF would drop and it would be sometimes like a couple of weeks. It was just Troy at one point doing the coding. So now it's just simultaneous. The bugs are mostly worked out. So it's really neat. So Gogolen, do you have a favorite card or even a card that you think is going to be really strong, really powerful from this set that you want to discuss?
I have to say, the new Dark Side objective kind of looks really interesting because I was watching a snippet of a game the other night. I had jumped into it and wasn't really exactly sure, how it was set up, what was going on, because I came in mid-game and whatnot. But I saw Vader on the Executor, and he just kept reacting all over the place. But it wasn't a react; he was just sort of moving.
The swing and a miss question.
An actual react.
We're gonna get there. Yeah, Run Vader Run is what I think Chris Kelly called it. It's really strong.
Yeah. And he was just bouncing all over the place, kicking the crap out of everybody. I'm like, well, this kind of seems like the movies. But whether or not the most optimized version of that is sort of out yet, but that's a card that's definitely one to keep an eye on. And I'm certainly one of the many hats I do wear is also part of that competitive balance team, and it's already something that it was just like, this. Who let this through? This seems really good, really, really easily good.
Maybe we have to get Beggar.
He doesn't have to be on the ground to move around. He can move around on ships with all the guys with him. And all right.
I was thinking it's like your opponent's saving 1 force to move him around. You can't cancel it with a react canceller. Beggar? If the shield bust. But yeah, how do you get your opponent to use that 1 force to shut off that Run Vader Run? Yeah, not on Jump, but maybe at Worlds?
Everybody plays their Beggar decks at Worlds. Yes, I want to see that.
Well,
Beggar, maybe you're out on Jump because you're like, oh crap, Vader's going to react over. Let me just crash the game. Screw it.
Reflections
I
2
really
throwback
want to add
event.
Beggar to my Worlds deck now.
Kendall, do you have a favorite card?
Deck.
Did you put Grogu in your throne room? 12 card throne room?
So I did not. Well, okay. So I got a whole spiel here. So this set definitely is a set that has lots of dreams come true for me. First of all, there's 2 cards that I was involved in designing: Vader's Driveway and Off-World Jawas. Yeah, CRG and I designed Vader's Driveway, and that took that process was a long time. It went through a lot of incarnations, but really happy to see that. And then Off-World Jawas. Not only is that awesome, just that I got to do a thing that was with the Jawa Cup team, and it's light side aliens. I like the trend of light side aliens being good, but they're based on my favorite episode of The Mandalorian. So very exciting there.
Mhm.
And then the other 2 cards that I wanted to mention are the 2 Anakins. We have 2 things that I've been asking for a long time. We have a Vader that is not Machine Vader and Sith as his type. And actually, it looks like the original concept was by Dan. So
Yeah, it's Dan's
thanks,
player card.
Dan.
I love playing in ASM.
Yeah.
I haven't actually played him, but I'm very excited to see the card. And then the Anakin, the other Anakin, I like seeing a playable card that deploys for 8. Like that's how you answer this whole activation creep that we've been dealing with, is just make cards more expensive.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all those cards. Unfortunately, I think the only one that is being added to a deck in actuality is the light side Anakin. Adding him to my throne room, because you can't play Darth Vader, Betrayer of the Jedi in court. So
No,
Oh.
well, you can.
I
But
mean, I've played Darth Maul with lightsaber plenty of times. I don't know that he's ideal in court.
no, I mean, you're gonna play them all with EPP Lord Maul.
Matt, what are your favorite cards or most impactful cards?
I've got a couple of things. So I'm on the PCD team, the player card development team, and so I have seen the numerous work and the steps and recommendations that went into the new Vader that Dan has the original concept on. And so I'm excited to see how that kind of makes an impact and kind of what effect it has. I'm also curious and kind of excited about the free ride combo V. I think it's going to be fighting for spots with quite a mercenary virtual, which sees a lot of play in playing light side decks. And I think it's going to have some interesting effects at Worlds. Like, okay, so do we play Tadigwat day 1? Do we play, or day 2, I guess? Do we play at day 3?
We'll never align on
what
that.
Kind of, what kind of like reverse psychology fake out are we going to be dealing with there? And then the other card I'm really excited about, Gogolen mentioned the Dark Side Objective. I think that's going to take some time to shake out. But I'm curious how the communing theme works, especially given the various options. I think Qui-Gon is going to be most popular. But of course, we have Master Yoda, which just screams like, hey, let's play around what you have learned, but in a different platform. And how can we abuse the attrition reduction text?
You know what I'm looking forward to with him is our friend Andrew Moss, Wend. I bet he'll have a pretty cool Son of Skywalker, Lower Corridor, because it's the Dagobah Luke is deploy -1 and power and defense value +1. I think it'll get a pretty cool thematic Cloud City, and Princess Leia V works with Anakin Skywalker V, so there's a lot of synergy there, and Luke's Bionic Hand and all that fun stuff. So
I don't think Wendell will play Anakin Skywalker V in that. Anakin Skywalker V, not Anakin Skywalker Padawan Learner. Wow.
The interrupt.
Yeah, the interrupt.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Although
really
it's not
exciting.
100% thematic then, right? Because that's Death Star 2, and you're talking about Cloud City, so that hasn't really come yet.
I'm not sure
Maybe.
on all of his rules, but
Well, he would have to. I mean, it would just. He would do it in a thematic way. I mean, it's whether
You can pull
You'll figure it out.
Lower Corridor, right? It's a two dark side icon site, so you can pull that and throw Luke there, and he pulls his own lightsaber, and now you're power 8, draining for 3. That seems good, right?
Clash,
Sure.
all sorts of stuff. Blaster deflection, redirect a
Yeah.
Black Sun
Flash,
blaster.
mess, deflection, dodge.
All sorts of, yeah. So yeah, so
You name
V16,
it, it's broke.
yeah, it's cool that it was 5 solid weeks. I think last couple times we've had a new set, it's been like 3-4 weeks ahead of a new major. So this is 5, which is nice, and people are working out the new cards. So really excited to see what comes about at Worlds. So that's our V16. All right, so last couple segments. Let's do swing and a miss, and then the lore challenge, and then hopefully we're not too long. All right, so
Should be. Yeah.
swing and a miss number 1. And this was alluded to a little bit, but move it over here. All right. Kwai Muning will be the most popular light side deck at 2021 Worlds. Swing and a miss or it's a hit. I'll start around the horn. Let's start with CRG.
Probably a hit. I think it's probably the most powerful community platform, and light side is a mess enough to people are gonna go toward the bright and shiny thing that is new.
Kendall, what do you think?
I think that we're going to be. I mean, I guess I always think this, and I'm always wrong, but I think that a lot of people who come to Worlds are going to be like me, and they haven't touched their decks in a long time, and they don't want to build a whole brand new deck with all the arts and crafts. So I think that whatever the most popular light side deck will be, it will be something that has been around for a little while. And even if communing is the most popular, somehow the most popular, I think that enough people will try the other commuting platforms that it will kind of split that crowd a little bit.
Mhm.
So I don't know what will be the most popular. I'm gonna say Old Allies, but I'm probably wrong. But I don't think it'll be quite meaning.
Chris?
The whiskey's starting to hit me.
I'm kind of where Kendall is on this one. I think communing will be the most popular light side deck in the field, but I think there'll be some diversity between the different builds, whether some use Qui-Gon, some use Yoda, or the afterthought that is Kenobi, which is basically like a Diplo deck without the objective. Certainly starts a lot less cards on the table.
Good. I should build that deck.
It kind of is just taking your Diplo deck and taking like 5 cards out of it, and it's like, all right, here's Kenobi.
There's less
Kenobi.
words.
Yeah, so
I don't understand Diplo, so
that could certainly, between the 3 of them there, that might be like 20 decks. Of the 60 people who show up, might be 20 communings, but I think there'll be enough variation between that one might not be the most popular, and something like Old Allies might just creep in there ahead of them.
with 60 people, I don't think you'll have more than 10 of the same deck.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really more diverse field than people. Again, because of like people are going to physically have to build decks, even if they're borrowing cards and stuff, but they're going to have to cut things out, and a lot of people are probably coming to this. There's probably going to be a handful of people who don't even play on GEMP very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that'll be cool. So
also, probably Brian Fred will be providing like 6 of the decks, and they'll all have to be different, or something like that. Like some handful of people. I say Brian Fred, but Chris Kelly or whoever will have like 12 different decks built, but they're providing decks for 6 people. So those all have to be different.
Yeah.
Fair.
One thing that will be interesting is like in the throwback event, for example, like Beggar, Frozen Assets, maybe like Scrambled Transmission, a couple of the cards that are not coded and GEMP, they could show up. And a lot of us have blind spots to those cards. So that'll be a cool thing to watch.
Yeah, what's the deal with Frozen Assets? Everybody played it in something, but I have no idea. I remember reading it and feeling like it's like does nothing.
It's like the same as Beggar. It uses the opponent's force pile, and then you do a beatdown, withdraw their fire, and they can't play Git.
Yeah, you put it on top of their force pile. They can't use any force that are below that until their next turn. So when it goes away at the start of your next turn or something like that, so they're completely locked out, and then draw their fire, and you can't play your Hujix because you have no force available.
Gotcha.
And you lose.
In game.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna miss 2. Let's see it up here. Verge of Greatness is the best dark side option to completely kick light side out of space. And what inspired me is seeing some games on Gem where, yeah, someone's got Vader on a Devastator or a Vengeance or an Executor or Executor, or even and it's just moving at every system, and all of a sudden light is like, you better have a Hujix because it's like power like 30 to like 10 real quick. Um, so we'll go the other direction. Chris, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this earlier, watching that game, and I was just amazed that Vader, Executor, and another pilot. It was another admiral or something. It could have been Chiranu for the extra drain bonus. Could be Thrawn for the extra battle destiny. It's 18 power that's just instantly being added into a battle. Just right, oh, I've got the Tantive with 3 guys on it. Okay, great. I drop one other ship. I battle it. Vader comes over. Half the pilots
Offensively,
are gone.
you could do it on,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really cool. It's a really cool mechanic.
Tantive runs away. Okay, great. Deploy another ship. Battle. Moves over, chases them again, clears the rest of everybody else off. And, you look at decks that kind of need to hold space, like a Watch Your Step or even like a Y4 Ops or something like that, and it's going to be really a big challenge. That being said, Taco Bill's mentioned at least twice in the chat so far today, his favorite guy, Tarn Mizan. Maybe that's a guy who shows up and just says, yeah, we don't really care about, your big ship moving around. Now all your pilots are forfeit 0. Maybe you have to get through it that way or something.
Yeah. The thing is, you always have like 2 ships there, so you need Tarn, and then you probably need like at least like 10 attrition to get through the second Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
But definitely possible, like a spin.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kendall, what do you
Sounds
think?
like a problem. Sounds like a problem of what got Stalker or Red, just the chasing around.
So what's the question? That swing and a miss on the verge of greatness is good?
Yeah, it's really strong. Really good way to for Dark to dominate space.
So I haven't read the card, but I did see on the forums that it sucks. So
Don't believe that. That thread is
so
not
I'm going to
accurate.
say swing and a miss.
Okay. CRG, what do you think?
I think I did not see the game Gogolen reference, but I am aware of it. I don't think it's the best dark side option. It's got plenty of weaknesses involved. I think probably maybe a better option is probably that Kyle Kruger Sigfa deck, because it sets up so well up in space and is so easy to protect its immune to attrition, less than 5 or whatever ships. So it's good, not the best. There's the lawyerly answer for you.
It's cool because there's like that Death Star reactor terminal, and then you get devices, you get deflector shield generators, homing beacon. There's some interesting things that could be done, but yeah.
Star reactor terminal is such a silly card because it's like devices. You get to play all the devices, and they never go away, and yet still nobody plays that card. I mean, occasionally you see it, but it's like, even with all of that, all of the devices that have ever been printed for Darkseid are bad. I don't know. It's such a funny card.
I'm starting to see landing claws though, so like that deflector shield generator V is good. There's a lot of stuff to shake out. It'll be cool.
Look. I'm not saying you can't play. It's just Reactor Terminal
Whose
is
fault
such a
is
funny
it though
card.
that we're seeing landing claws?
Yeah, no one ever plays landing claws. Don't play any of the cancelers like Admiral P at V or Get Combo or Captain Goddard. So, all right, third and final
Don't
swing.
listen to anything don't listen to anything about what Jared and I play.
Yeah. All right, so third one, I'll go the other direction here. I'll do Matt first. So there will be over 3.5 first-time qualifiers in OCS top 16. So there's been 9 spots claimed so far, 7 still to go. I'll pull up the scoreboard here. I'm going to have to bring it to the front. And the question is, will we get 2 more? I'll try to get it to the front. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. So basically what we're asking here is, like Brad Kipple, Drew, they qualified before. Joker King has not done an OCS. Neither has Miguel, Tarkin, or Wayne. Or basically anyone who might grab the September qualifiers, like Derek Jackson, who's 10-2 right now. So let's see. CRG, what do you think? 2 new fresh faces to the OCS top 16? Yeah, 2 more, I should say. Yeah, or nay?
I'll say nay. We'll get 1, not 2.
Okay. Kendall, what do you think?
Joker King is my teammate, and he won the Gem PC, so he's a shoe-in, and probably somebody else will get it there. Brad Kipple played a lot of games in Jawas in Love, so he's another
Yeah,
possibility.
he qualified last year though.
Oh, he qualified last year.
Yeah, he's a
Did you
strong
say
player.
was that who else? Who else are we talking about?
So people like Joker King, Tarkin84, Wayne Cullen, and then like Derek Jackson, and Gogolen's probably looking at this now because he's going to give a well-educated response of who's doing well in this month's
Okay. The only person I know on that list is Joker King, so I think he's gonna make it, but I think that's it.
Okay. All right, Chris, what do you think? We'll get 2 more.
No, no. Looking at where people are in the overall standings and, looking at the good possibility that there's extra at-large bids created, but looking at all the guys who are ready to gobble up those season-long ones, it's all the same familiar faces, people who have done it over the last 2 or 3 years, who have been in the running, who have qualified in previous years. So I don't think that we get that many new players who make the cut. I feel like, with a lot of newer players too in the OCS, there's not that consistency. So a lot of them, they may have had a couple of good months, but they didn't play, all 6 months, all 12 games. And I feel like some of them are going to come up, 2 or 3 points short, which are going to be games they didn't play, which even if they had taken losses for those games, would have been good enough to get them over the hump, but they just didn't have time to get all 12 in, or only got 7 or 8 games in a month, or took a month off or something.
Yeah. It is interesting because I think Paul Myers is still right now. He's number 1 overall. He was number 1 overall last year. Bastion's right on his heels. So I think Paul is 4-5 this month, and I think like some of the early months this year were a lot of the usual people. So in a way, it's really good players are really good players, and they'll recur. But there's always room and hope for new fresh faces to break through. So hopefully we get that. I'm rooting for some fresh faces in the top 16.
Have a few breakout candidates who sneak in. We've already got 2 this year, so like you mentioned, and good chance we get 1 more in there. But it's tough because there's a lot of good people in the hunt, a lot of people who have been there before who know what they need to do in that final month, who are going to be very picky, if you'll say that, about when they put tables up or accept games,
Yeah.
and trying to squeeze out every point they can.
Yeah. MHD is interesting because obviously he's been an excellent player for a while, but I think he just came back. Was it 2019, maybe, or even 2020? I think 2020 NPC was his first one in a while, so him qualifying isn't a huge surprise at all. But yeah, Timo's had a
Signed
pretty
this
crazy
card.
rise. Nice, yeah.
He borrowed it from me for nationals, and then he won nationals in 2014.
Wow.
So I had to sign it.
Hold on to that.
I don't know why it's right in front of me. I think I was going to give it away on a stream, and then I didn't, and then it's still on my desk.
What card was that, Kendall?
Hiding in the garbage.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Is that like a Scott card?
You should give that. You should give that to Scotland Grow. That's what you should do with it.
All right. Let's do one fourth and final giveaway for tonight. And then I should have mentioned this. So if you're watching this on the replay, submit your answer, send it to marketing. I think I did mention it once. marketing@starwarsccg.org. Answer the question. If I get, I'm setting aside 2 for the replays. If I get 4, I'll do a random. But yeah, so one more time on the community foil. This fourth and final trivia is name someone.
No, answer that in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. You can answer in the chat if you're on the replay. But so first in the chat, number 4. Name someone who has finished in second place at the Star Wars CCG World Championships at any point. A second place World Championship person.
Come on, Bill. You're right on top of that one.
Yeah, Bill, you're out. You already got one. All right, so it looks like Wayne is the first in with Greg Shaw, who was twice in 2002, 2003. Yeah, Desai, I think, finished in second twice before he then won first place twice. Michigan's won. So those are all right answers, but Wayne had the quickest trigger there. So Wayne gets it. So send those in. I'll give away 2 more, but that's it. For giveaways, we're going to finish the lore challenge and then sign off for this extra long episode. All right, so Chris, Matt, Kendall, get ready for lore challenge as I prepare it in So let's see. I think Dan usually gives a hint if you can't get it immediately. So it's not the professor. I just put that as a card for. Did I lock? Is this locked in?
All right, guys. I gotta sign off. I got some issues here in the house.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'll make this a little smaller here. All right. Lore challenge. Dock mechanic. Install starfighter cannons. Gambler. Followed Lando from Cloud City. Turned down assignment and rear guard in order to work on General Calrissian starship. So Chris and Kendall, lore challenge. You guys can talk through it. Give one answer together.
It's not Lobot.
I can give hints as we.
Oh, it's whoever it was. He was in both Tales from Jabba's Palace and he was in Tales from Jabba's Palace because there wasn't a Tales from Cloud City, but like
Really?
His story.
You think he's a rebel or an alien or well, he's probably not a droid.
Well, he's a light side alien.
Is he an alien or? So you're thinking it's a Jabba's Palace character. It's not like a. Because it says General Calrissian in his lore, right? So wouldn't that be like?
Read the lore to me again. Maybe I'm
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys had to. I should have said that. See, this is why I'm the JV and Dan's the varsity. We're hosting Holotheatre. Dock mechanic, install starfighter cannons. Gambler, followed Lando from Cloud City. Turned down assignment and rear guard in order to work on General Calrissian starship. It is a character.
Right.
And
you knew that.
The game text has synergy with Lando.
Okay.
This was a card I used in my All of the Jedi games. He was pretty cool.
Okay, so he's a rebel from Endor or Death Star 2. It's not Jabba's Palace. I was thinking of a different character.
You're getting there.
I don't know any of those characters, so I don't see a chance.
Oh yeah, I used him. He has a cool. I'll give you a hint. He has a game text that he adds a power destiny with Lando or another rebel.
Adds a power destiny?
Yeah, power destinies from Death Star 2. There weren't that many of them back then.
No.
Power destinies and all the Jedi, pretty sweet. When it's basically like a lot of simple math of just throw down a bunch of characters, add up your numbers.
Yeah, we had all the guys in Special Edition, the Red Squadron pilots who added with their specific ships. In Death Star 2, I'm kind of blanking here. My first instinct was, of course, it says General Calrissian, so it's got to be 9 Num. But I don't think his game text says anything like that, so or his lore. So then it's probably just some random guy like Major 2 V's or something that nobody's ever actually read.
What
the card.
is it? You're close. All right.
Was that it? Major 2 V's or whatever his name is?
Yeah, and he's not a. You got the name, but the rank is wrong. But
I was a lieutenant.
Yeah. So I'll reveal it now.
I promoted him.
There you go, Lieutenant S2V's or
promotion.
2V's, Stovies. No idea what that is, or how to pronounce it, I should say. So yeah, so good job. So yeah, he's got this cool text with win in battle with Lando or Marmor, who I also had in my All the Jedi deck. Adds Destiny power only. So I put him with Lando or Marmor at like the Carbonite Chamber and just have a Drain 2 and just load up on power 3. So yeah, cool character. So that's the lore challenge for that.
Okay. All right, cool.
All right. So yeah, so this was a long show, but thank you very much, Kendall and Chris and CRG, for joining. Make sure, again, submit those things, submit those answers to marketing@starwarsccg.org to get a communing foil. Make sure you tune in the next few weeks as we continue to celebrate Holotheatre 100. I think Dan will be back, or I know Dan will be back next week. And yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and participating in the chat, and hopefully this was a good show. And thanks again, Chris and Kendall and CRJ. You guys take care, all right?
Thanks, guys.
All right.